players for our first round feature match are standing by.
Yugioh.
We're going to jump into our first round of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship
TCG.
2024.
Let's get into it.
Let's meet our players here.
All right, so on the left they have Gabriel Nets, pretty good player, from European. I think he's Brazilian, something like that. Then we have one of the OCG players on the right. But
sitting in the red chair, it's Yugioh Moriuchi of Japan.
Now Konami just totally messed that up.
Yeah, this is Gabriel Nets.
That is Ginja. His opponent is Ginja. Gabriel Nets, though, while we're looking at it, he is representing the UK, but from Brazil.
Yeah, he qualified in Europe.
Yeah, you know this guy means business. He just straight up just bowed.
His opponent, Ginja, as Jerome already called
ready
that.
to get the business.
His favorite card, Heroic Champion Excalibur.
Yes.
Really cool ring.
Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2024.
Is Nets a Dragon Link?
Oh, he's a Dragon Link extraordinaire.
I remember he had that Kashira combo that turned into full Dragon Link, the full Dragon Link board, right?
I don't think I have time to cover all the combos he's created.
Yeah, he's definitely creative, but his opponent. So this is going to be a TCG versus OCG match right off the bat.
Kind of like getting a taste of that the first time. We could see maybe some of the differences.
Yeah, I love seeing TCG versus OCG matchups.
There's also differing deck building philosophies as well. Like the way in which they build the decks. So like in Japan, for instance, Crossout Designator was a really popular card when it first released. And they were playing packages, Crossout Designator, and played their Ash and their Max C, but also just one-ofs of all the other things that might stop them. And that took forever to catch on over here in the TCG, if you can even really ever say that it did. And I always thought that that was really fascinating, a difference.
Yeah, it's just a difference in philosophies, I'd say. And I think it's going to be really represented here because, if anything, Gabriel Nets is really big on the philosophy of efficiency. He's a programmer by trade. So he is maximizing just how well he can make a deck consistent. And oftentimes, I feel like when I look at deck lists from the other side, they are going for a little bit more of the high roll aspect. They play a lot of the one-ofs just to see if it comes up, it comes up, and it's good. But as something that we rarely see on the TCG side, so it's going to be interesting to see how those two face off here.
I know personally, I lean more towards that philosophy of having there's a card I only want to draw
one thing that I see off back that I really don't like is that both players
make
use the same deck, so they have a mistake. They can make a mistake of just picking up the wrong deck.
I do think there's a good discussion there between efficiency and the redundancy factor that when you're doing deck building, for sure.
There's also a difference between playing these really powerful one-ofs that are just super haymakers when you draw them and don't really matter if you don't, but also just diversifying the number of different cards you play. Because there's a lot of things you can only activate once per turn, so being able to just make sure that your opening hand has as many playable cards as possible.
That is definitely key here. You see the players are getting ready here for the first round. I'm filled with so much anticipation. I cannot wait to see what these players are playing here. And we are in Seattle, Washington. It's been a little warm here on the West Coast for the first week of September, but beautiful morning here this morning to have the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship.
Yeah, it's a very pretty have the World Championship in the middle of August. So perhaps some of the heat's been following us all of this time, just waiting to strike.
And we thought we could escape, but
we tried. We tried our best to escape the heat, but it's still a little warm. But the heat and the pressure is on here in the building as well, as these players are getting ready to play the first round here at the World Championship. Nets doesn't look too nervous here. I know I felt a lot more nervous than what he appears to be on his face, but could just be cool, calm, and collected there.
I mean, he's been to similar stages
this is like
before,
the highest level
not the
of
World
competition
Championship,
right here, so I know they're nervous.
Made it to the top tables
round,
plenty of times, and he's come close to that first place finish several times before. I think he's just looking to finish it out here at the World Championship.
Nope, looks like the players are told they were on the wrong side of the tables.
Yep, now they have to swap.
So yeah, something like this to where they have to switch over and then they gotta switch decks and cards and stuff. With the same sleeves, they could easily make a mistake and somebody get a game lost. And it's not on them. It's really on the company for having to play the same cards, but it is what it is.
From around the world here this weekend to watch our tournament.
Just gotta make sure that the decks really do.
But I'm so glad that the 2024
we have had
World Championship
instances at WCQs in the past where similar decks were not exchanged and nobody noticed until the wrong rarity of a card showed up.
Shout out to Jesse Cotton and Jimmy Wynn. Jesse Cotton's still here.
I always forget that it's them. In fact, he's here this weekend over playing in Master Duel.
I promise you, Jesse has not forgotten.
Let me know if y'all want me to cover the Master Duel content as well. It's gonna be a rough weekend for me, but it is what it is. I'll get that content out for y'all. Have y'all something nice to watch and something nice to go over and be able to,
I think
have
the
a
players
good
will
memory.
make sure that they do have their
on this channel, I grind Yugioh
before we
channel,
jump into our first round feature match. Oh, it looks like even the translator for the player from Japan also had to switch sides on the table. But this is exactly what I'm here for. I'm here to see TCG versus OCG. I have so much respect for the OCG players. They kind of lead the way. I mean, they do get the cards a little bit sooner than the TCG. So I know a lot of the TCG players are always looking to the OCG. What are they doing over there? How are they using these new cards? And sometimes that doesn't always equate to how they're going to use them over here in North America either. There's sometimes a lot of different changes. Jerome was also noting about Crossout Designator, the big difference, Max C existing in the OCG format.
They do lead the way for us, but we do have our own strategies that
change deck building
they don't know about and they find out later on down the road.
That's also, I think, the biggest adjustment for the OCG players.
But they are the innovators.
Playing a format without Max C is a lot different. And the TCG players are used to not using Max C, which can have big implications.
I think a lot of it comes down to you're not accepting the fate of having to stop your game mid-turn a lot of the time. So you're trying to do as much as you can turn one, so you're looking for that max efficiency. And sometimes that's where a lot of our innovation comes from. And, mentioning innovation, Gabriel Netz here, he is one of the first players to really focus down on Small World when that card was released and looking at every single way to resolve that
Small
card.
World is a nice card. I don't think it's
Dragon Link
used as much as it should
because he found ways where Small World was always full combo.
Yep, Small World is one of, I know Jerome and I, was one of our favorite cards when we saw it for the first time. We were really excited about it, hoping that the players would also be able to figure out how to use that card successfully. And yeah, Nets was one of those players able to do that as well. But maybe I was wrong. You see him breathe out the stress.
That's a good thing about having all these pro players too, that everybody tries different strategies and they bring it all together. And once the deck profiles get released, they bring it to the mass and everybody just tries something different and come with like a good game aspect for the whole game. The game grows together. So let's get into the game one, y'all.
Championship 2024.
The players shake hands here. Hands are being
so we got Fiend Smith Labyrinth on the left versus Fiend Smith Snake Eye.
Roll, and it's going to be going first here.
You can tell that by the phase indicator there at the top. Excellent there. So now we are in the main phase one, starting with a normal summon of Snake Eyes Poplar.
Not ideal necessarily, but usually good enough.
We know with the hit list, that's not pretty,
Temple of the Snake Eye.
The best, but we'll see.
Sorry. Yeah, it's a habit of picking up.
Yep. So we do have this card to mark that you don't have to shuffle in between your turns until you have to draw another card. It's going to save some time here for our players.
Okay.
All right, field spell.
Temple is able to resolve and place any Snake Eye from the deck into the spell and trap zone.
Let's see what combo he pulls off.
Likely going to be that Snake Eye Diabellstar, and there it is. Activating original Sinful Spoils.
He had already drawn it. It's an interesting hand, starting with Poplar and Sinful Spoils.
OCG player locked in. He's looking, checking out everything.
Certainly. And now the original Sinful Spoils is going to spell summon Snake Eye Ash. The card is limited to one here this weekend.
Poplar effect, Snake Eye Ash effect. I can't wait to stop hearing that, but it is what it is. I'm rooting for Gabriel Netz, TCG player.
So the FNL list for this event is based on the previous FNL list, not the one that currently has Snake Eyes Poplar Limited. So this is fine for this weekend.
Going to send two monsters to the graveyard to summon Link to Moon of the Closed Heaven. That is a Light Fiend.
All right, now we're getting into the Fiend Smith stuff.
Uses its effect when it's sent to the graveyard to place that Snake Eye Diabellstar back in the spell and trap zone, so it still has its effect to summon itself.
Yeah, the interactions with Snake Eyes Poplar and Snake Eyes Diabellstar are excellent.
It makes sense, right? Like in the pictures, it's like the same guy.
Then he's going to tribute off Fiend Smith's Requiem to special summon Fiend Smith Engraver from the deck to the field.
Requiem effect? Okay.
The Requiem is going to equip itself from the graveyard to the Engraver here.
Now I know what we're not going to see. Necroquip Princess.
Yeah, that's a TCG card, so it's not legal.
This is one of those points for things we're going to diverge a bit.
I love those sleeves, though.
I believe we're at 5 summons now, Justin.
And if they do come in red, I would like a pair of the red ones.
Yep, and now he's going to use Snake Eye.
I like how every year they have a different
two
design.
Cards to the graveyard to special summon a Snake Eye monster from the deck or hand.
Okay.
Looks like he does have Snake Eye Oak in the hand, so he just summons it.
A little bit of an awkward hand here for Gabriel Netz, having a lot of the pieces already. But I think, as long as it functions out fine, you can't really complain.
Yeah, so by divining things based on what he's done so far, his hand was Oak, Poplar, original Sinful Spoils, and then a couple cards we don't know about. That is an awkward hand for sure.
To be the first round in the opener, I could tell like they're both like really nervous, and you always want to get that first one too. So.
No Nibiru just yet.
Yeah.
Going to send Snake Eye Ash and Fiendsmith Engraver to the graveyard for a Link 2, it looks like maybe?
Yep, going to be able to go into the IP Masquerade, link it away, putting it in the graveyard for later. Going into Celine with the Snake Eye Diabellstar as the spellcaster, being able to summon it back because there are 3 spells somewhere.
The spells?
So 1, 2, and then the original. That's 3. Don't forget that those cards that are in your spell and trap zones are considered continuous spells. Not always that case for all the things.
All right, we got the
Centurion
Apple,
in
which is banned in the TCG,
instead.
but
And as Dro mentioned, this is using the previous TCG Forbidden Limitless, so Appaloosa Bow the God is still on the table here at the World Championship.
And now he'll be insulated from, I believe, 2 monster effects. You mean that with 2?
Indeed he did. 1600 attack there for the Bow of the Goddess.
Flamebridge has now hit the field and going to be able to use its effect to go after that IP Masquerade sent to the graveyard earlier and be able to place it in the spell trap zone to be summoned later.
So that's like a follow-up
so he's going
play.
to shuffle back, or return the Moon of the Close Heaven back to the extra deck to special summon back Fiendsmith Engraver. Now he's going to link away Flamebridge and Engraver.
For the Moon again. This makes sense. So now you can develop more bodies and you put a Fiend back on the field.
Now, you'd think maybe with Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess protecting nets, there are combinations of cards that Ginja could have in his hand to be able to still disrupt this field quite significantly, but it's going to need to be a combination of cards now.
Number one thing I want to see
just one
in this Worlds format tournament
can only use
is that Snake Eye Fiendsmith is the best deck.
So in fact, 2 monster effects could do it.
But I'm glad the guy on the left is playing Labyrinth, something different.
Now it looks like Fiendsmith's sequence hits the field. It's going to let him return 1, 2 Light Fiends and Fiendsmith Engraver. That meets the fusion material requirements for Fiendsmith's Desiree.
Desiree will hit the field here, and now he could use the effect of Lacrima to equip from the field, but I imagine he wants to get it off the field first.
Oh, so he also has Bestial Magnum in the hand.
Bestial's in the deck.
That's a really cool Bestial to have in your opening turn because you can summon it, use it as a free monster on the field to use as materials, but you're also going to get the Bestial like Druid's Room to replace it there at the end phase as well if you do play. Which you can only assume them other Bestials potentially.
Okay.
So Promethean Princess hits the field next. You can make that with any effect monsters, not just fire monsters. So that is what it summons.
So this was a really effective play here, putting the Lacrima in the graveyard, and now the sequence will be able to put on the Desiree. So now he's going to use the effect Desiree to negate the effect of the Bestower. So now you are no longer locked into fires, and you can link them away into Nightmare Griffin.
Nightmare Griffin.
So that's going to prevent the use of effects by non-linked monsters.
I remember when the Nightmare cards hit the game, they were so like
field.
OP,
so linked monsters are
overpowering.
anything that a blink arrow is pointing to.
Which is currently everything.
Except for the, the Flamberges as well, because Appaloosa has that bottom left too.
Yeah, I really like the being able to utilize those awesome arrows from the Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess to really show off this Nightmare Griffin. Not something we see a lot often in this Fiendsmith Snake Eye strategy.
And even when the IP Masquerade comes back to the field, that Griffin is pointing left and right as well, so that's going to be fair game too.
Excellent point there. Now it's up to Ginja. We'll see how he's going to deal with this field that Gabriel Nets has presented him on the first turn here. He is playing Fiendsmith Labyrinth, as we can see, so going to be interesting here. Not going to be a typical deck, which could catch Nets off guard.
Oh, there is a Lava Golem going to be able to easily answer some of those
good old Lava
effects.
Golem. Lava Golem is still like overpowering. You don't really see it in this meta, but it is crazy. Still
now
crazy.
There are no linked monsters on
Great
them.
removal.
This could be huge for Ginga here, playing into his own Griffin.
Yeah, he can't use the Flamebridge to bring out the IP. He does still have the Divine Symbol, the Snake Eye, though, that could be useful.
Yeah, he's going to have to right now put it right between.
All right,
we'll be able to move that to the zone that Griffin is pointing to.
Now we do have linked monsters.
Still a fine position. The Lava Golem locks Ginga out of his normal summon for the turn.
I don't know if I had Lava Golem round 1 of the World Championship on my bingo sheet in game number 1, but I'm excited to see it here.
Okay.
So linked monsters are pointing to or pointed by a link arrow.
Okay, we're attempting to go into the end. Yeah, well, I likely this IP Masquerade is going to use its effect, link away, I imagine with the Flamebridge.
Does seem to be the case here.
Try to get all the follow-up that you can here, and I think I know what he's going to summon. Just He has a couple of Link 2 options here. Potential Link 3. But it looks like it's going to be that SP Little Knight. He's going to be able to banish a card as well as get the Flame Bridge to summon back some his monsters from the graveyard.
SP on the field to banish something.
SP Little Knight, probably one of the best cards released in recent times. Just absolutely incredible. And that's going to
hit Welcome Labyrinth.
Huge, getting that Welcome Labyrinth.
Gingo was able to crack the field fairly well, but he needs to start playing his own game, and Welcome Labyrinth was one of those cards that will help him do that. Going to be cut off here from the SP Little Knight.
And the SP Little Knight having that same kind of arrows as Griffin pointing to the sides, he's going to be able to use all of these monster effects.
Yeah, really great positioning from both players here, just Nets taking advantage of everything that he can. Now, important to note here, because there are no more arrows for Ginga, he's not going to be able to use any special summon effects if any come up.
Now we got the Labyrinth field.
So still in the main phase. He's going to activate Welcome or Labyrinth. I know you're a big fan of Labyrinth.
I am a big fan of Labyrinth, and I like how he held it back here. So even though he lost the Welcome Labyrinth, he didn't lose the one copy of the field spell.
Yeah,
he will still be able to add that additional effect if he does have another copy of Welcome Labyrinth or a big Welcome Labyrinth to be able to destroy a card on the field, which is huge for Labyrinth. But
so Nets is now checking the effect.
So the crazy thing about this, the Labyrinth Flare has 2 cards, but this guy on the right has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards on his side of the field. That's good card advantage, but let's see what he has.
Awesome interaction. That's kind of fun.
Going to save himself some life points here.
Yep, no damage. We can move into standby. Looks like they're is thinking here to standby.
There's several powerful Labyrinth or trap cards in the Labyrinth that he could use right now.
That's one of them.
That's one of them. That's what I was thinking.
Karma Cannon. Card is
effectively
broken.
Removes the Link
especially
monsters,
with Links
but still
on the
leaves
field
quite a good amount of monsters for Gabriel Nets to just flip back up.
Yeah.
And he actually gets rid of nothing here, because those monsters will be returning to the field.
But he did activate a normal trap card, a non-Labyrinth, which can summon from hand or graveyard.
Well, it'll have to summon from hand.
It looks like Nets here is wanting to verify if it summons from the hand or graveyard. It is from the hand.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And now that the Griffin is off the field, his Ariana will be able to resolve its effect. Assuming there's no interruptions from Nets, and there are none.
All right, that goes through. And now
small little language barrier, but it's cool.
Yep.
Of note, all of those monsters that were flipped face down can be flipped face up.
Not gonna lie, that card, that Labyrinth card, shining really, really hard.
Nets in a
I think they got a couple rarities
right now,
that we don't have.
Still one set
pretty nice.
For Ginga could be anything.
If he did add Lady, or yeah, it was Lady to the hand, I believe, right? Yep.
Going to be able to protect itself from, because now a Labyrinth effect has been activated. He's going to be able to summon it at any point this turn. Depending on what that spell and trap is, it could be very impactful. And I imagine Nets is going to try to eliminate all variables as quickly as he can.
Now, Mimigools aren't legal, but we're seeing a lot of flip summons here.
It's a little tough. So the Lady Labyrinth is now summoned. Nets wants to use Promethean Princess here.
He will have to target the Ariana. But going after the Poplar is also extremely strong here. You're going to get access to that Snake ID Bellstar again.
The gift that keeps on giving there. We'll see if there's a response. Another copy of Destructive Druid Karma Cannon. Ooh. Those monsters won't be able to be flip summoned again, and the Princess will probably be going to the graveyard.
I'm honestly a little shocked that he flipped them all immediately. He could have taken his time on it, like, you know, as many, only flipping up the ones he needed.
And that's crazy too. I didn't know this card wasn't once per turn. You can use it more than once in a turn. That's crazy.
Response.
How do you play through that?
That's fine. Epic.
Now he's going, since he didn't, that's why Ness was thinking, if you can chain something to cut off the trap, he won't be able to use Lady's effect to set a trap from the deck.
Yeah. And Nets is questioning right now whether or not the card is once per turn, but believe it or not, it's not. Many powerful effects like this are, but not this one.
Need to pick up my copies. It's not once per turn. That's crazy.
It was a big welcome lap.
Okay, I was like, that, if I had to guess, that would be the one.
You got to get into your engine
definitely
somehow.
Just shut the opponent turn off.
And the Snake Idea Bellstar hits the field again because of the effect of Snake Eyes.
I got a little secret for my channel.
Able to special summon itself if he chooses to.
A little special treat coming soon, but I'll reveal it
pretty
soon.
Depleted. Only like 6 or 7 cards left there. We'll have to see how he's going to navigate this.
But no more activatable cards from Ginga at this point. Every card is known.
He has no cards left in hand?
No cards in hand, and everything on the field is like, even though they're face down, they're essentially face up.
So Dia Bellstar is going to come forward to the monster zone by placing a fire monster there in the spell and trap zone. That'll be the Flamberge Dragon.
Flamberge
now,
in the
there
back
has
row.
been no normal summon committed here from Gabriel.
Now we know that he got back that Ash off of Oak.
It's a strong normal summon, even at 1 copy.
Normal summon Ash, the best normal summon in the deck.
Back to your hand or special summon is incredible, especially when the limitation of Snake Eye Ash, you're going to want to have to be able to recycle those resources.
He's not going to be able to add anything, though. There might not be any copies left in the deck to add. But just being able to use its effect here, sending itself as well as a Snake Idea Bellstar, or is he going for a Link Summon? I think he's actually going for a Link Summon here. Back into Moon of the Close 7.
The third time we've come out this duel.
Putting in a lot of work, and none of it's with her effect.
That's going to immediately be linked away for the Link 1 Fiendsmith's Requiem.
I wonder if anybody even
saw
resolved her effect.
I believe
to,
is
I think link off with something that it points to. Nobody in the
monster.
TCG really uses that effect that
Pretty
much.
sure it's any monster. Maybe.
Sequence Engraver.
You're going to be using the sequence effect instead of the Requiem here, and then yep, you're going to be using the effective Engraver going after that lady. So now all Gabriel has to do is find some damage. Oh, there's that Druis Worm added from the Magnamut in the last turn. Going to get rid of the lady here. Going to be able to link away these two. They were 2 level 6s, so we had a couple options there, but
certainly did. Only 5 cards remaining in the extra deck. Looks like he's going for Hida.
Well, it was a light in the dark, so okay, yeah. We're gonna go going into Nightmare Phoenix.
Nightmare Phoenix.
Gonna discard Poplar here. Gonna be able to go after that big welcome, and then use the effective Engraver, putting back the sequence, and then linking those 2 away, potentially to a Link 3 here.
Yeah, man, I'm so hyped for this Worlds like format, just Worlds being back, man. I'm hyped for the content, hyped for gameplay, everything, man. I'm finna take everything to another level, and we almost hitting 1,000 subscribers, so I love y'all for that.
So
let's get there. Make
sure
y'all like, comment, subscribe, share all the videos. I grind Yu-Gi-Oh! We out here. World Championship 2024.
Probably the Requiem, right? Oh no, go back with the Engraver.
Looks like he is going to be summoning, based upon those materials, is going to be Fiendsmith's Lacrima.
And Lacrima's going to use its effect. Oh, this makes so much sense. He wants to keep the Requiem in the grave because you already used the effective sequence, so he can summon back the Desiree and still have an equip for it.
Butterflies? Okay. So 36. Okay.
Looking like this is going to be enough damage to wrap up game number 1 in Gabriel Nets' favor. If he's just a little bit short, the Fiendsmith Lacrima does do that extra 1,200 points of effect damage if it is sent to the graveyard just by shuffling back another Life Fiend.
800, right?
Yep, he's confirming he's at 800 life points. All it takes is a Link Summon here.
Okay, 800, right? Make this true.
Going to be able to link away now for back to the 4th Moon Claw 7. And that is enough.
Yep. Nets is going to take game number 1, our first game here at the World Championship in 2024. You know, going first with your Fiendsmith Snake Eye strategy, really strong, had a good hand. You know, his opponent Ginja had some solid answers, had the Lava Golem, but you know,
so
that,
he took game 1, you know, a little language barrier, but you know,
really
they're getting it done.
He just was able to have a lot of monsters where Lava Golem just wasn't
Thank God TCG banned that.
That's a dual finish that you're not going to see.
That 1200 burn
because
people were using it. But it is what
the
it
only
is.
one where you
decided the game on our end, and I think their end too.
Yeah,
well, not maybe not their end, but we'll see.
Not the latest TCG list, but the previous one.
I'm not sure what the OCG ban list is, but
for the newest one, for so many players out there, you'll know that was on our last forbidden list for sure.
So Gabriel Nets on the TCG side got game 1.
Definitely a different kind of deck that they had to adapt here to, but Nets winning game number 1, you know, that has to feel good. You know, winning the first game, the nerves kind of have to relax a little bit, but on the other side, you have Ginja who, you know, is down game number 1. He's not out. Losing, it's the best of the 3 for anyone. He can bounce back. He has to stay cool, calm, you know, focus on his deck. He's diving into the side deck. He's going to be able to go first in game number 2. There's a lot of things that could be turned around for him. And it wasn't that bad of a game for him. He had some answers, had cards that he got to play, got to deal with the board a little bit, but Nets just building an excellent board.
I like how he on his side now, he puts 5 at the top, 5
you're really just showing Snake Eye's dominance.
I think I might start doing that.
I believe every territory.
Because I'm always counting my cards, like what to do.
You are able to find those tools like Lava Golem and try to deal with the board after the fact, and then pair it with some really powerful trap cards.
See, this is why you watch streams like this and you pick up
a
couple things from the players to better your game.
We had the Lava Golem, we had access to the Welcome Engine, but it just wasn't enough this time.
Definitely not, but it looks like the players are shuffled up, and we're going to jump right into it. It's going to be game number 2 for the World Championship 2024.
And definitely leave in the comments if y'all want me to cover the Matador content too.
You should have
I would definitely do those videos
plan
if y'all
going
want
this tournament, knowing the kind of decks you might be able to face, what's going in, what's going out. It's not something you want to think about on the fly at the World Championship.
Given I don't think Labyrinth was something necessarily that Gabriel was really planning that much for it. Maybe a little bit, but I think at the very least he knows how to play against Labyrinth. He's played Labyrinth before, and it's not that hard for him to adapt in this scenario.
Now, Jerome, do you think Genji's going to side out the Lava Golem or some of those kind of cards since he is choosing to go first now?
Yeah, if he's going first, I think in particular the Lava Golems are headed out. If you had a more impactful option, that might stay in just in case you need to be able to, play across multiple turns and break through a board a couple of times. But really, he's just hoping that he gets those Druma Cannons again and can get them to fire off before any of the major damage is done.
Yeah, if he can draw that same kind of hand here going first in game number 2, he might be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that would have been a great going first hand.
Yeah, a double Karma Cannon going first, that's tough to play through for any deck. But also on the other side, Nets also got to.
It's always good to get that first win when you have the best 2 out of 3 because you don't somewhat lean back and just relax, but you're like, okay, I'm up 1 game, all I gotta do is win 1 more, and even if you do lose this one, you still have the last one.
You don't even want to focus down on the spell and
winning
traps
that first game is definitely
because a lot of them are
important.
chainable, right? You're trying to remove them. I think you just need to focus down on the monsters, and I mean, given it's a bit of a gamble either way, but just making sure you're not hit with any of those really powerful blowout trap cards. You just want to focus down on getting rid of the monsters and keeping maximum efficiency here. Just getting, like, when you're playing against trap cards, you're just trading for value, right? You just want to make sure you're out-valuing them. Considering his options here as he gets to start game number 2, going to be normal summoning. Is that Ariane?
Yep. That is the other one.
Yep.
It's going to send a Destructive Druma Karma Cannon to the graveyard to try and special summon a level 4 Fiend from the deck. And it's going to resolve.
Very similar to Summoner Monk, but for the Labyrinth strategy, discarding traps instead of spells.
Also a reasonable attacker as well at 1800.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the way to do it if you want that translation. Let him continue playing. Just make sure you know all the effects. Make sure that the second effect, there's usually an effect with the Ariana, like when a monster leaves the field by a trap effect that gets to do something, just making sure he knows exactly what that is.
Yeah, especially because I believe that one, like Ariana, it's locked to one of those per turn. I don't think Ariana is. I think you can use both.
Could be, and now we see a discard for Fiendsmith's
I might have to pick up a Labyrinth core, man.
From the deck to the hand.
Deck looking kind of good.
Could be a very explosive turn 1 here.
Trap
you really want to see when you get to go first
trap
with this
deck, so.
Yeah, Labyrinth is one of those decks where you're like, oh, think about, it's a trap deck, they're going to set a lot of trap cards, but you're saying the monsters are the cards you want to be worried about because it can combo off and do a lot of cool things on turn number 1.
Low-key good deck.
So he added the Fabled Lure, and then Fabled Lure is being discarded by track. Since it was discarded, it can special summon back to the field.
Going to be immediately linked away into that Requiem. Requiem's going to use its effect. No responses from Gabriel up to this point. We've seen so far that Ginga's deck is built a little bit more so to deal with the board after the fact, but I imagine Gabriel playing Fiendsmith Snake Eye, that deck is generally more focused on making sure your opponent's strategy doesn't go off. It wants to try to disrupt their plays on their turn as they're going, but we see nothing of that sort so far.
I really like the addition of the Fiendsmith cards to the Labyrinth strategy. It's kind of notorious for not having a huge amount of early offense, and that's something that the Fiendsmith cards provide in spades.
Yeah, like, not only is it early offense, but it's offense throughout the rest of the game, because as soon as it's set up once, it's set up forever.
Right.
Maybe even just getting
another big thing. I'm glad that they have the stage for the players. Last year, they were talking about how they were in classrooms. That was kind of crazy, but they do have the stage for the players now.
I remember those days.
It's pretty good.
This is something we haven't even mentioned yet, just the power of the Fiendsmith cards in addition to the Labyrinth cards, the synergy of just being able to access some of your powerful trap cards with the effect of Beatrice.
Oh yeah, Beatrice, really cool card in Labyrinth strategy. Oh, we also see a piece of the furniture there. Going to discard Bestial Druisworm to set a Labyrinth trap from the deck.
That's a great point on Beatrice. Sends any kind of card to the graveyard, as we've seen in some of our previous events where it set up the Nightmare Archfiend's transaction rollback combo a little bit before.
That was quite scary. I mean, anytime Beatrice touches down, it can be frightening, and he's going to go ahead and use the effect here. Let's go and see what he's going to send. Is it going to be something like transaction rollback?
So this is in the end phase, I believe.
Yeah, trying to play around some potential interruptions from Gabriel here up to this point, even though, like, if Gabriel had been saving them for the Beatrice.
This is big welcome, right?
Just trying to play as proper as possible. You're not playing tight, so there's limiting any amount of mistakes that you can make and making sure your opponent can't capitalize on it. Those small things, right? Right, Gabriel is going to enter his draw phase. That was a lot of spells, looking at it. Oh, there's a Power Sync Stone.
Power Sync Stone. See, I've been on this card for a little, not a little minute, but ever since the ban list on our side that hit skill drain, I've been playing this in my White Woods list.
Yes, it gets counters every single turn. Once 2 monster effects is activated, it has a maximum of 2. Monster effects cannot be activated, and monster effects on the field are negated, and it resets every turn.
And this is really strong because
you basically lock your opponent out because you could activate effects and you could put 2 counters on it, and it just negates everything.
How much
so
of that
your
was
opponent
planned. That
basically
has to be
doesn't
something
get a
that
chance
happens
to play.
so consistently in this deck that you just know that you're going to immediately have a semi-skill drain by just resolving 2 of your powerful effects immediately.
Yeah, I think if you've got an engraver and a Power Sync Stone, you've got it.
I think that was definitely according to plan here from Ginja. This is his game plan going into it. Oh, so he has Metal Tronus.
I like it.
I like it. Such a good card. It's a quick play.
Legacy of Destruction.
Yep, and so he's going to be able to target a monster, and he can special summon a monster of the same type and attribute. Or has to have either
One
the
the
same
3,
type and attribute,
or 2 of the 3,
or the attack and attack and defense. It might just be attack, but you can special summon a monster with 2 of those 3 stats.
From your deck or extra deck.
Yep, negates both of the monster's effects and banishes them face down.
If it's the same monster,
the same card.
banish them face down.
The same card.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it is. Especially with something like Beatrice.
Right.
But that could be game saving for him.
It is. Well, in this case, it's going to get Beatrice off of the field so that it'll resolve successfully.
Oh, the big welcome. Yep. So we get to send the Black Goat Lash to the graveyard. That's an excellent card.
Now a lot of options for both, like the transaction rollback. We have the big welcome that can be used as effect because the Lovely is on the field as well. Okay, only 1 effect so far, so he still has. Oh, and now we're going to use a bunch of effects in the same chain, which.
Negated, right? Because this is going to be on 2 counters.
Ooh, how does that work? Does it apply immediately in the middle of the chain? Or does it happen at the end of the resolution?
So this goes
we'll have to pull up the card text here on Power Sync Stone.
I'm telling him it doesn't resolve because the Power Sync Stone has 2 counters already.
So the Power Sync Stone says that each time a monster effect is activated, place a Spellstone counter on this card. However, the activation... So the effect of... the activation has to be successful. If the activation is negated, then it doesn't get the counter.
Right.
So you place the counters at the time that the monster effect is resolving. So once it gets to 2, you can't activate the effects of face-up monsters on the field, and the effects of face-up monsters on the field are negated. So what you want to do here is you want to have it so that the lady that's on the field is the second effect, the one that causes the second one to be placed on the field, so that your effect in the graveyard still resolves.
I see.
And that's what he's doing here.
Yep.
Yeah, but he played it properly. He knows his cards.
And just a heads up about the time clock. I do think the time clock might be for just the regular round of time. Future match is on their
Power
own
Sync Stone
time
definitely
clock,
a powerful
so they may
card.
have a few more minutes than
I think I'm gonna take
appears
advantage of that.
Yeah, so
This
don't be
format
shocked if
coming
you
up.
see the clock update in the near future.
Yep, just like that.
All right, so it looks like Fiendsmith's Tract is up next.
Going to be able to add the Lurie and discard it, special summon it, because effects are not negated in the graveyard. Linking away for the Requiem that we've seen many times so far. Yep.
Yeah, it can't be activated.
Yeah, that's the difference between it and Skill Drain. You can't activate effects on the field. Yep.
It even does both. Can't activate effects on the field, and the effects of the monsters on the field are negated. Face-up monsters.
I was like, is he tribute summoning? Yep, that is the case.
This is pretty ideal
nice little trippy summon. That's like an old mechanic in the game that a lot of people don't think about. Like, if you want to get something off the field, you still can tribute summon.
Nets.
So pretty good catch right there.
I was like, it's only on the field, right?
Yeah, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you can use it in the graveyard, so Requiem gets to pop back onto the field.
Gives Phoenix Smith Engraver a little bit more attack points.
Cool 600.
It's a nice little matchup. I love it.
Nets thinking about his next move.
So like trying to figure out what you're prioritizing removing at this point, because as soon as Ginga gets his turn again, the Power Sync Stone does reset, so it no longer has any counters on it, so he has 2 monster effects that he gets to take advantage of before there's anything turned off. It looks like we're going to be using the original, sending the Requiem here. It's a little tough because anything you summon out will not be able to use its effect. Just going to be going for that Snake Eyes Poplar.
Poplar.
Going to be able to make a Link 2 here.
Linking off.
Looks like it's going to be Hida, the Fire Charmer. And Engraver is going to now use its effect, putting the Requiem back in the extra deck to try to special summon itself.
All right, going straight to battle. The monster effects are power sunk, as it were, and now he is just going to have to play some good old-fashioned beatdown.
So 1850 does beat 1800. Ginga checks his graveyard real fast. He's got plenty of effects to activate in there.
Yeah, at some point, the Big Welcome has not been activated
I
this
think
turn,
the OCG players be doing, they be doing like the little timeout thing.
It has? It's, oh, yeah, yes,
it's
it
like,
was trained.
You're going to write live, you have to do it at the same time, but I don't blame him. I don't know if it's a thing over there that they have, but
as well. Yeah.
I guess he's letting them know that he's not trying to slow play like timeout.
But I don't think he's feeling any pressure to do anything right now. He just gets to go immediately to his turn.
Yeah, this game is feeling a lot better here for Ginja than game number 1. Nets does have 1 card in his spell and trap zone. Play back to Ginja.
Now, I imagine Ginja wants to take advantage here of his effects before he's locked under his own Power Sync Stone. Yep, he's going to be activating the effect of Lovely, setting that Daruma Cannon. That's putting 1 counter on the Power Sync Stone.
So 1 more effect.
Looks like we're activating Transaction Rollback, are going to be copying the effect of Big Welcome Labyrinth.
It's going to be an expensive activation, going to cost half the life points, but totally worth it.
Half 17 or 7350 is
yeah, this definitely motivated me to start playing some more right now.
3675.
I love seeing this game. This back and forth interaction.
Oh, that was me.
Just wait for the cannon.
Yeah, I was doing the simultaneous equation cannon with Mike at YC Sacramento. I was letting him run the numbers, and I was there to enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's a card you'd play in this particular tournament, though.
Probably not. Yeah, it's a little more niche. Oh, so now he's using.
You got cookbooks, right?
Just confirming here, because the Power Sync Stone was already at 2 counters when the lady would attempt to activate its effect to destroy, it will resolve negated.
The second effect was what? The first effect was lady placing face down?
Yes.
What did you shuffle back?
Oh, the second was sequence.
So he puts back the sequence to summon Phoenix Smith Engraver from the graveyard. Every time I say that line, I'm like, how many times am I going to say that?
All right.
Oh, you should get ready.
So it's looking like he's clearing up Gabriel's field.
So it's like we're going to battle phase, taking out the Engraver with
that Power Sync Stone putting in work.
Ginga gets to take it slow here. He's not feeling any pressure to do much more than that. Okay.
Going to main phase 2.
Okay, gonna be able to use the effect of Lady in the hand. Okay, try I think to end main 2 here. Let's see if there's anything used from Gabriel. Doesn't seem so. Power Sync will be able to reset here.
Yeah, not quite as draining as skill drain, because you at least get a couple effects potentially, but obviously with so many different effects as we saw, like on his first turn, there's ways to get those counters on before your opponent can get a monster on the field.
Yeah, honestly, it feels a lot stronger than Skill Drain when you're able to use it like this.
Nah, I don't know about stronger, but similar at least.
I mean, it stopped a Requiem. That Skill Drain can't do that.
True, true. There are definitely differences in between the two. Yeah, not being able to activate an effect is way different from all effects being negated for sure.
It does both.
During the standby phase, we can see the big Welcome Labyrinth effect from the graveyard activated. Put that Hita back in the hand, or in this case, the extra deck. And that's going to be able to trigger the lady.
That's one.
No response here from Nets. He's going to lose a card.
Let's see where he goes. He's going for the hand here. Let's see what he hits. Oh, it's the Poplar.
Ooh, he hits Poplar. That can activate in the graveyard to come back.
Nets does have original Sinful Spoils in his graveyard as well, so he's going to have some plays here this turn, potentially. He's just got to keep that second counter off the Power Sing Stone.
Yeah, so this is tough because it's not just the monsters that activate on field that put the counter on Power Sing Stone.
Comes in right
also, this Poplar, if it were to come back, would place the second counter.
Oh, that is really good to note, because it does only stop the ones on field, but to get the counters could be anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very key.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's opting to use that effect, but he's going to use the effect of original here, putting a Poplar back on the bottom of the deck and adding to hand maybe Snake Eye Ash? Or maybe, I don't know. It could be like really any Snake Eye here.
Looks like he is eyeing Snake Eye Oak.
Yep, Snake Eye Oak is a very strong one, able to potentially summon back that Snake Eye Poplar that's already in the graveyard.
So I guess Nets is not going to be going back into the deck. Turn.
Confirming that we are in main phase 1 after using the effect of original.
So this will be the second one when it resolves successfully.
Alright, going to summon Fiendsmith Engraver back to the field.
Player's being a little nervous here. Gabriel really trying to figure out what he can do in the situation. It's really hard here.
That Power Sing Stone putting in work for real.
You take your time to think, but you always want to keep your pace of play up as best as you can.
Yeah, it feels like maybe maybe a go to next on this one.
I mean, he's looking for any answers he could find. Trying to power his way through.
And then leave the Oak.
Yep, we're just going to go into the end phase here. Oh, he shouldn't shuffle, right? Like, oh no, he could shuffle because of the effect of the Engraver. Putting the Lurry back in the deck.
Yeah, might need to use the card there to not shuffle during the turn.
Yeah, you could see it just off screen beneath the phase.
Yeah, because there was three shuffles there this turn without a draw.
Well, there was one because you had to put a card on the bottom.
Yeah.
Sure, okay, I guess
so. That was the
makes sense.
shuffle.
That makes sense. All right, monster's going to attack position.
Let's see how much pressure Ginga applies here. Even though you are in a demanding position, you don't really want to give Snake Eyes that much time.
Definitely putting in work. But he did go first, so to be fair.
Using the effect of Stovey Torby, sending itself as well as Chandragolier to set a big Welcome Labyrinth.
Big Welcome Labyrinth, notably, is at semi-limited for this event, as it is semi-limited in the OCG.
Interesting. It is a really good card. All right, now we're going to battle. Engraver's going to attack over Oak.
That's just 900 points of damage there, and these other two monsters are quite large.
It's 28 and 29, or 29 and 30?
29 and 30, I think, so leaving him at 100.
Just one Requiem equipped short of game here. But he might still, with this Power Sing Stone up, probably not going to be able to finish him off with something like Lacrima or something during this turn.
100.
Well, Lacrima does also activate in the graveyard, but it's just a matter of getting to that point. If there's a Tract in the grave, you never know.
True, he would just need to get another Light Fiend onto the field. Nope, just going to leave him at 100 points past the Nets. Let's see if he draws anything that's going to change the outcome of this duel. I believe in the heart of the cards, but I don't know if he has anything that's going to bounce him back into this game.
time is starting to run down here. Just adding a monster and passing. All right, what is the most powerful set monster you could think of?
Spirit Reaver?
Man Eater Bug.
I don't think it's big enough, but Spirit Reaver would be pretty good here.
Maybe a Penguin Soldier?
It's just an effect, Baylor.
All right, so going into the game
number
3.
2. So we are going to game 3 here in our first round of the World Championship here in 2024 in beautiful Seattle.
I mean, you see why he chose to play Labyrinth, right? If your deck is able to do that every single game, that is enough to win. You know, the power of Power Sync Stone right now.
I think that is the key card from that second duel. There was the Power Sync Stone. It really.
I'm sold. Yeah.
One thing that I see that goes on the card games, like if you play like in a very impressive card like Skill Drain or Power Sync Stone.
Yeah, it works better.
Well, people who play stun decks, like they're very sorry that they play it. You don't got to be sorry for what you're playing.
Really
Own it, you know.
Play it in the same way.
Play it. If you want to play it, play it. If it's degenerate, let it be degenerate. Play your game, man.
Yeah, it might be a little bit tougher.
Where if your opponent's salty,
whatever,
cool just play what you play.
If you're watching at home, or if you're watching at your local OTS with one of our watch parties that are going on this weekend.
It's a card game. You're not supposed to want your opponent to play.
Watching it from there. Shout out.
They aren't okay when you're playing, so don't be okay.
That we're able to bring that to your shop and have everyone come out for a tournament and watch along as we enjoy the World Championship here in Seattle, Washington.
I wonder if perhaps the decks that players are bringing there are similar to the ones that we see here, or if maybe they're a little more similar to what they normally play as well.
That is interesting. Hopefully we get to look at some of that later on and check out what people were playing at their OTS watch parties.
I imagine it's still a lot of Snake Eye and Yugioh. Those decks were already so popular. I think people just, you know, stick to what they have a lot of the time.
I feel like maybe we'd see a little more Tenpai Dragon there than we might otherwise.
True, Tenpai Dragon's still a strong deck. It does have the Sengen Summoning Limited. But
World Championship,
it looks like we are
Seattle
taking a look at that prize card.
That card looks like a Firewall
that is the first place
Blue
prize
Eyes.
Card.
You know, Firewall Blue Eyes card.
Just mere feet away from the players playing here at the feature match stage.
It'll be a nice card to have.
Looks like they've made their decisions there.
All right, look like they're done siding.
Sure that all
7 minutes left.
In their proper places. 15 cards still in the side deck and extra deck. We're going to get ready for a kind of short game 3. It's going to be under 7 minutes, probably closer to 6 by the time we kick this thing off.
And players are going to have to play fast.
I mean, Gabriel already knows how to play his strategies extremely well. He's going to be efficient with his plays here. And now that he has knowledge of what his opponent is playing, the kind of cards that are in his deck, he's going to be able to maybe alter his strategy just a little bit. Maybe he wants to make a different end board. I don't know if he's going to prioritize Nightmare Griffin as he has in the first game.
Let's see what Gabriel got.
Gabriel choosing to go first, as you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think that's a big, that's an interesting point you make there. Is he going to make that same play? Because I mean, you're going blind in game number 1. You're just going to make the board that you've been practicing.
No, this is in definitely in Seattle.
That
I was about to say the
but we'll see if he does
California
adjust it for the Labyrinth strategy. I think he is going to look to have something like IP to go in SP, which is pretty good against something like this. But we'll have to see if he does go for Griffin as well alongside that.
I think the remainder of that field was extremely powerful in the matchup. So we'll just have to see if that's what he does here going into game number 3. He's going to take the lead here.
We see 2 Spear Modes Cosmics and 1 Cosmic
started once again
with a transaction rollback.
We're now in the main phase. Oh, normal summon Snake Eye Ash. One of the most powerful starters.
Best card.
Limited to 1 here, but only takes 1.
You draw the one.
Draw some of your cards.
Crazy.
It's also limited to 1 in Master Duel. I feel like after the limitation, I saw it in my opening hand in Master Duel almost every game.
Oh, we see he playing the game with Gamma in the main deck. Or is it main deck or is it the side deck?
That's a tough one.
Maybe side deck.
Now,
2 sides of the spectrum.
Snake Eyes Poplar is going to add to the hand, special summon itself to the field, and then add that Divine Temple of the Snake Eyes from the deck to the hand.
Couple talents.
Play Snake Eyes, Diabell Star into the spell and Trap Zone.
Nothing too different from what we've seen before. He had to work for it a little bit harder in his first hand, but now we see the Snake Eye Ash able to do it all in 1 card.
Makes almost 5 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Oh, and there is also a wanted. Not choosing to use that in the draw phase, trying to play around something, some other points of interaction here, but like using it now to try to understand what potential interruption Ginga has.
Yeah, a lot of people play one in like the draw and standby phase. I don't know why you don't want to get free information. Just play your cards. If you don't have to use it, don't use it that quick. You don't want to get free information.
By sending Effect Veiler from his
you don't want to go into the main phase with your opponent knowing you have a witch in hand.
It's going to let him set original Sinful Spoils.
I mean, Droll is cool, but you could just chain the one. And if they got another Droll, they got it.
Just keeping track for my own sake, there are now 3 spells accounted for. It looks like we're just going to be making a Link 2 here. Oh, into IP Masquerade? And then using the effect of Poplar to put itself
and a lot of QCRs on the board this first game.
Interesting. Going to send IP Masquerena and Diabell Star the Black Witch to the graveyard to Link summon the Link 3 Celine.
Okay, choosing to use the IP Masquerena now rather than saving it for later in the turn in case you need a generic Link 2. We're just going to be able to bridge that, link away with the Celine, and we're going to be making another Appaloosa here.
It's the original Starlight one, too. It's a nice looking card.
Very beautiful indeed.
If there's anywhere to flex, it's going to be the World Championship.
All right, 4 minutes left.
Original is going to resolve as well, sending the Poplar to summon that Snake Eyes Oak from the deck. Snake Eyes Oak is able to, looks like it's going to special summon the Poplar from the graveyard. And then
it is strong.
Diabell Star is going to use its effect to place the
new ban list.
Let's
see what it does in the
Spell Trap Zone and summon itself from the Spell Trap Zone. And now it looks like we're going to be making another Link 2 here. I feel like it's going to be a pretty familiar face. Yep, it's Moon of the Close Heaven. Going through the motions here, linking the Fiend into the Requiem. Requiem able to use its effect here. Special summoning out Fiendsmith Engraver.
All right. Fiendsmith cards are definitely powerful. They definitely made a big impact in the TCG.
Oak uses its effect, sending itself as well as the Fiends with Requiem to special summon out Snake Eyes Flamebridge. Flamebridge can now go after that IP Masquerade that was sent earlier, but now we're going to lead with the Wanted here. Get a draw before you make any more decisions.
This is when I like to use Wanted, is once I get that Flamebridge Dragon out of the deck, it's not something you want to draw off of your Wanted draw.
Yep. I think this is probably where his plays could branch out a little bit more as well. You could see how he uses his extract differently depending on the cards that he draws, tries to figure out what it is that he needs to prioritize.
See what he draws.
Linking away the Engraver as well as the Flamebridge here. Flamebridge has not activated its effect just yet, so likely going to be summoning it back later. Flamebridge using its effect in the graveyard to special summon back Snake Eyes Oak as well as Snake Eyes Poplar.
So how many Fiends has he got in his graveyard? He's got enough, right?
I believe it's at least Requiem and Engraver.
All right, for the SP.
And there's SP Little Knight on the field here, a little preemptive, going to be able to protect some of his bodies in case there's something that targets them. Using the effect of Lacrima.
But we're only going to use 2 here. And that is going to make Lacrima.
Sequence is going to be able to, put those back for the Lacrima, as you mentioned. Lacrima is going to be able to use its effect. Going after the Engraver. It looks like he's adding it back to his hand here and then using its effect. Able to add a Fiendsmith Spell Trap. Let's see what he grabs. It's going to be the Tract.
I don't think we've seen the Lurie discard quite. Oh no, Ginga had Lurie.
Ginga had Lurie, yeah.
Ginga had Lurie.
Lurie does hit the field after Tract discards it from the hand.
And that's taking his time to consider his next move carefully.
You don't want to make an illegal move at this point.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get no illegal plays in the tournament.
Into Moon of the Close Heaven, linking away the Lacrima as well as the Lurie. And Lacrima is activating now. Gonna go ahead and shuffle back the Lurie.
Gets him for 1,200 damage there.
30 seconds left.
Now this is where you drop the Gores. You get the Gores Effect Veiler combo here.
Barrel behind the door from the hand, that would be nice also. Oh, man.
Engraver gets to use this effect, put stuff on the field. Now the track is going to be able to use all 3 of those fiends on the field.
Yeah, we don't see the track's graveyard effect used too often, but it lets you just polymerization, basically, infuse your Fiendsmith cards for Desiree.
Now sequence is on the Desiree, so it's no longer able to be targeted. And now finally there's a Bestial Baldrake at the end of all this as well. Going to be able to go after the Celine.
Baldrake's a tough one too with that summon negation effect. Never mind, it's going away.
Get rid of the SP.
Oh, we haven't gotten to Promethean Princess yet. That's true. We still have access to that Flame Bridge in the graveyard. Flame Bridge is going to be able to use its effect here. Putting back that, SP Little Knight, because IP's already used. We're negating.
We're seeing this cool interaction where Desiree can negate your own Promethean Princess, since it is part of the effect that locks you into fire, and now he can link summon something that's not fire, but still links into a Nightmare Phoenix anyway, which is kind of funny to me.
That might have just been like the last thing he could have possibly used.
Yeah, he's used almost the entirety of his extra deck in this combo here.
And the announcement of time having run out has just been made.
I mean, it looks
that's
like,
enough.
Yep, and that's just the way he walked into the qualifications for the World Championship on the backs of
Gabriel
Fiendsmith
Nets
Lacrima.
for the
He is now
TCG, won his first round.
Here
so
at
this
the
is
World
first round of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship. This is I grind Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm bringing y'all the best competitive content possible. This is the World Championship 2024. Like, comment, subscribe.
I mean, he was also
videos. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers.
One way or another.
Let's go.
Oh,